At the beginning of 2010, Germany's coalition government continues to be dogged by strife. Chancellor Angela Merkel is under pressure to keep the coalition between her Conservatives and Free Democrats on course. But one of the smaller partners grabbed the year's first headlines. In spite of miserable results in recent public opinion polls, the Bavarian Conservatives, the CSU, are determined to be heard.
We'll play an instrumental role in determining the new government's course.
The Free Democrats claim that right as well, but they want to keep cutting taxes, a policy many Conservatives reject.
What a decadent concept of state, that tax relief is a gift from the state to the average citizen. The taxpayer pays the state, not the other way around.
It would be good for this government to hold another conference, free of the vanity of partisan politics, and rethink things. To say, our plans aren't working. What can we still do to keep from hurting the people of this country?
What a difference 2 months can make. After September's election, the Conservatives and Free Democrats made an harmonious impression as they signed a coalition agreement. It wasn't very concrete, but the Chancellor's dream team came to terms with tackling the financial crisis and initiating reforms.
At 2:12, we had finished work on it. By 2:15, we were on a first-name basis.
But friction wasn't long in coming. The coalition's very first project drew fire, a stimulus package aimed at helping Germany weather the crisis by lightening financial burdens on individuals and businesses. Preferential tax treatment for hotels drew criticism, and most Germans, as well as many economists, feel the new measures won't contribute to sustainable growth.
We estimate the effects from the Help for Families, for example, will have a maximum impact of 0.3%, almost nothing. That's tax revenue desperately needed elsewhere that is being squandered.
Another major bone of contention, billions in tax cuts. Many Conservative politicians say more cuts aren't possible in the present economic climate. But the Free Democrats want to make good on campaign pledges and lower taxes in spite of a record deficit. And the gap between the two camps is growing.
After the stimulus package, we need further incentives to create more growth and jobs in Germany.
We've also agreed that everything is subject to our ability to finance it, which is why we're waiting for May's tax estimates to see how much elbow room we have.
And revolt could come from within. Fearing unpopular cutbacks in services, Conservative state premiers will likely balk at federal efforts to implement tax cuts. And new state elections are coming up in 2010, a fact the Chancellor hasn't forgotten.
The state elections in North Rhine-Westphalia are paralyzing attempts to forge new policies. In other words, the indecisiveness, wanting to have your cake and eat it too, will continue for months.
The government is also under pressure in foreign policy. The airstrike called in by a German commander in Afghanistan last September claimed many civilian lives and led to a media debacle in the early days of the coalition. The new defense minister came under fire almost from day one. Karl Theodor zu Guttenberg has to appear before an investigative committee. The Chancellor has yet to come up with an effective strategy for coping with the fallout from the incident and is still struggling to define Germany's future role in Afghanistan.
Both are problems for Merkel. She has practically no support for sending more troops. Since the events in Kunduz, the resistance is also beginning to grow in Parliament. She'll have a very tough time there.
Critics are also focusing more than ever on the Chancellor's reserved style of leadership. So far, Angela Merkel seems to have accomplished less in her preferred coalition with the Free Democrats than she did in the last government with the rival Social Democrats. 2010 could prove to be a tough year.